Welcome everybody. Hi, I'm Claudia. Thank you so much for opening this video. You know I bring to you great opportunities in real estate. Well, today I have something even better. Today I'm here with Mr. Trevor Bernard from
Premier Energy Solution Limited.
Yes, that's Premier Energy Solution Limited. And what do they do? He has decided that he wants Jamaicans to tap into the sun for their energy. You know, we have sunshine all year long. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you the opportunity that you have through Mr. Bernard's company to go solar on your houses. Yes, it may make sense, better sense in terms of paying your electrical bill. So let's have a look at the solar panels, and we'll also look at the inverter and the batteries, and then we will show you the cost breakdown. So will solar power at your house make sense? Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for opening this video. I'm Claudia, real estate agent in Jamaica. If you want to sell or buy or build real estate, hit the subscribe button and remember the notification bell.
Okay, so on this array here we have 24 panels. These panels are 440 watts panels. Very high amount of energy. So in total I have over 10,000 watts of panels here producing from the sun. And as you know, the sun rises from the east and end up at the west. So in the middle of the day we have the sun coming straight down on the panels, and we usually at maximum power in the middle of the day. So the panels produce different power as you go through the day. And one of the solutions that we have here is that we have a hybrid system wherein you are able to store this energy as you produce it in batteries. Because I'm not a firm believer in grid-tie systems for residential homes. When you are able to store the energy in lithium-ion batteries, you are able to use the power at night as you go along.
Exactly, because most homeowners work in the day, right?
That's correct.
So they're not using power like that. So when you get home, you're in the fridge every minute, you're watching television,
yes,
all kinds of things, right? So you really need the power in the night.
Right. So grid tie, what usually happens with a grid tie system is that most of the energy you are producing is sold to JPS. You'd have to have an arrangement with JPS and, you know, special facilities to do that, and it costs money to do it. And when you do that, you sell the power to JPS, and when you buy that power back at night, it's about probably 3 to 4 times more expensive. So let's say maybe you sell it to JPS for maybe say 10 US cents. You're going to buy it back, for example, maybe about 40 cents US.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
On average, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes.
So what can this power do? This is also this entire setup. What kind of electrical bill? Because most of us don't understand the wattage thing.
Okay.
But if we want to do the wattage, though, we go to our bill, right?
That's
the wattage
correct.
is on the bill that you use every month.
Right.
Go on.
So on average, about 1,000 watts on your light bill is equivalent to maybe around $50,000 Jamaican, $60,000 Jamaican. You know, it goes up and down, so that changes. So
you said 1,000 watts?
Yes, 1,000 kilowatts.
1,000 kilowatts.
Kilowatts
usage on your
month.
On your house,
right,
per month, is equivalent to about a bill of about 50,000.
60,000.
Okay.
Yes, that's basically where you are. So in this operation here, this is actually a business place. So we use about 4 kilowatt during the day, and the excess power, we use that excess power and charge the battery. And in this operation, what happens is at night, we use that excess power right through the night, because we have certain equipment that run in the night, the fridge, you know, the lights, and so forth. Okay. And the battery is able to run the business right back until the next morning when the sun comes out and it runs the office. And when we have low time, like for example, the sun go away and come back during the day, or you have a day that you don't have a lot of sun, the battery usually has enough energy to run the office in an off-grid environment.
For how long though?
Well, everything is related to how much power you're consuming on that day.
Right.
But I have about 20 kilowatt hours of battery space. And my total needs during the course of the day is about 25 kilowatt. So
okay.
I'm able to run the office even on a you know, a bleaky day.
A bleaky day, okay.
Yes.
So what happens though if you have rains for 5 days?
Good question, Miss Davis. So like the other day we had rains for 3-4 weeks straight.
Right. Yeah.
So the sun, we didn't have the sun for those days. So what happens is that this system can take power from JPS.
Okay.
So you can, it can also, it's an hybrid system, so you can take the power from JPS, or you have the option to take some power from a generator.
Okay.
So to get the understanding of that, you are able to share power. For example, this system, if the sun is producing 2 kilowatt, but you require 4 kilowatt, it will only take 2 kilowatt from JPS if you have it set up. So you can share the power.
Share the power.
You can share
okay.
the power with the battery, with JPS, with the generator. You are able to share the power. You can configure it to share the power in different ways.
All right. So basically, what would be the cost though of something like this set up and to get the panels and the batteries and everything? Turnkey. Meaning
Turnkey.
You come in and just put it up.
The batteries is one of the expensive part of it. The battery is probably about $5,000 US. So you can put 2, 3, 4 batteries, matter to your consumption at
okay.
night, right? So, you know, right now we are running, this system is running 3 air conditioned units. We have 3 18,000 BTU AC units that run the offices in the building.
In the days. Okay.
And we have a fridge, and we have about 10 computers that we run, and we have light, and you know, that's basically the gist of what we are running in the operation per day. And this system is able to run everything. So everything is based on how much power you consume at night. How much power do you need to store to use at night? And also remember, if your battery goes down at 2 o'clock in the morning, or you know, the power has been used up, this system will seamlessly just change over to JPS.
The JPS, okay.
Right. It will change over to JPS.
So from what you're saying, it seems to me that you're saying that in the days, the solar system is producing a certain amount of energy.
That's correct.
And that energy is what is being used in the office in the days.
Yes.
Now, whatever you don't use goes to the battery.
Right. You store the excess. It
stores in the battery, the
That's
excess.
correct.
And it is that excess now that is used in the night.
Right. When you don't have any, no more sun to produce the power. That excess. So you can store any amount of power. Everything is limited to the battery. And you are storing this excess power.
So the more battery you have,
yes.
If you have more battery, you store more power.
More power. And you are able to run more equipment at night and so forth.
It depends on your operation.
Depends on your operation and your consumption. And another thing, when you have a solar system, you automatically now start to look at your equipment, because you need energy efficient equipment. You start to look at, you know, should I be leaving this light on all the time? I need to have LED light. I need an inverter AC unit. You know, you start to look at your equipment and how efficient these equipment are in what you are doing.
One of the things too that I'm thinking here is that the solar system actually gives us some level of independence.
That's correct.
In terms of how we get our energy source. You know, you're not relying on a power company who to just willy-nilly turn off your light. You know?
Yes.
Maybe you didn't pay the bill, or you forgot, or you paid it to a different bill, which has happened to us. And then boom, you come home, there is no electricity.
Another
so you
thing
control this.
Is the generator aspect of it. Some households want to have a generator that, you know, they explode and burn up your house, and all of these kind of the environment. You have to keep throwing fuel in it.
Right.
You know, a generator,
maintenance,
a high maintenance kind of equipment.
Plus, you need technical people too. So your husband have to be technical and know what to do.
And some people have to go outside to get the technical help overall and repair generator. With this, it's trouble free.
Okay.
You don't have those. There's no maintenance, anything. And guess what? You are storing the power. When you have a power cut, that energy is stored.
It's yours.
It's yours. You have it there to use at all times. If you had a you know, some disaster or something and we don't have power for 2-3 days, the sun will produce enough power for you to run your fridge, run your blender, you know, have everything, you know, and live a normal life. So it gives you this independence.
So what is this gonna cost us? So suppose I decide to say, okay, Mr. Bernard, come and put this at my house. I'm using how much you said? 1,000 kilowatts?
Yeah.
Per month?
Everything is...
Or my bill is 50,000 per month?
Everything is based on the storage. How much storage capacity.
Storage, okay,
yes,
of the batteries.
Of the batteries, right. And, you know, you have to look at whether you're a nighttime user or a daytime user. Those kind of things are factors. Because nowadays with the COVID time, probably some households are using more day than night. Home. Right, yeah. Because everybody is home.
So they don't really need a battery.
You have to do an analysis of your power and see what you're doing at home.
Can I set this up without the batteries?
Yes, you can set it up without the batteries. You can set it up with batteries without. A matter of fact, clients who have business places use an inverter like this to give them clean power for, you know, the computers and all the sensitive equipment, because really an inverter is just like an inverter inverts the power and you're getting clean power all the time. So, you know, JPS spikes and all of this will not affect your equipment. So some people use these inverters as backup power, like if you're in an apartment. If you live in an apartment and you can't use solar panel, but you can use the batteries to store the energy, that if you have a power cut, because some apartments...
Store the energy from where? Without the panel?
You have to take the energy from JPS.
Oh, so you can take the energy from JPS,
store it in the battery,
and then use that battery at night.
Well, that's not necessary to use the battery at night. Yes, you can do that. But what happens if you have a power cut in an apartment?
Right. Okay.
You have no light, and you can't use a generator.
Yes.
And if you can't use a generator, so you're gonna have to stay in darkness all night. Can't watch TV, no internet,
nothing.
A system like this, you can use the battery and the inverter, store your power, and use it when you have
as backup power.
As a backup power,
right,
in your house.
That makes sense.
Make a lot of sense. So apartments will use systems like this because it is so, you know, it can be so helpful.
Helpful, yes. That's good.
Especially if you have children at home and you might want to warm the baby feed
and all those things.
You know, and you know,
so like us that use electric stove and we don't have any electricity, we can't cook, you know. Yes. So it would be helpful for that.
Right, but there is a limitation. Things like electric water heater, electric stove is a no-no in terms of the amount of power that they consume.
Not even to fry eggs?
Yeah, you can use it. I'm not saying you can't use it in a small, but not on a large scale.
Alright.
You can use a small electric stove. You can use your kettle warmer and your buckle warmer, a little hot plate. You can do those kind of things, but you have to understand that you have to control the power that you are using. You have to start getting educated to power consumption.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. What about the installation though of this? I noticed this is a gable roof.
Yes.
And
it's an old. Right, this is an old roof.
Right, and this is zinc.
And this is zinc. So we decided to build a framework on this roof, and we actually we drill a hole in the beam.
Okay.
Underneath. And just for a demonstration, we drill a hole. We use threaded rod, and we come right through the board and bolt it from underneath, and then we bolt this framework. This framework is bolted directly. It is bolted onto the roof. So, you know, it is very...
So in case there's a hurricane...
Yeah, the whole roof will have to come off with the panels.
Oh, the whole roof.
Right, because this is bolted down to the gables underneath.
Right, with
bolt
and nuts too.
Right, it is bolted to the rafters, everything under there. And this framework is there to hold everything. And also, when the wind blows, it will just blow and come right out from under this panel. It will not. You can see right here one of the bolting points where we bolt it to the zinc roof here. And this is a very old roof that is not very level, so you know that's why we decided to do it this direction.
What if I have a slab roof?
So these are you have what you call track and rails, which is these items. These are aluminum, and this is what you normally use on a flat roof.
On a slab roof?
Right, and they have what you call some tilting frames that you use, and you can install the panels on it. So this is what you would use, and you bolt them onto the roof, and the panels just screw straight to it. So
these don't get rotten or...
This is aluminum.
Aluminum. So this can be used if I'm near the sea or anything like that, to use it just the same.
Right, this is what this is.
Is there any maintenance required of the panels themselves?
To keep them clean, yes.
To keep it clean?
Yeah, that's the only thing. And one of the reasons is that the tilt that is on this roof, if the rainfall, it washes off the panels.
Right.
And also, I've never cleaned these before. They are a little dusty, but they're still producing, you know.
Do you use anything special to clean them?
I've never had to do it. No, it's usually just
So what
dust.
if you have in an environment where you have lots of birds?
Yeah, well,
pigeons and those
things. You clean it off with solution, like, you know, you could have some kind of broom or something and just wash it off. Because this is glass. This is actually glass.
Okay.
This covering here is glass. So it's not very hard to clean up. Some people use a power wash and spray them off, or you know, different things happen. But usually you don't really have to get involved in anything, and you know, because the birds not usually come out here in the sun. But if you have a tree, you have to watch for the shadows.
Oh.
You have to be careful of the shadows of any trees you have in the area, because the shadows will affect, you know, how much energy is produced. You want to put your panels in a place that you have the least amount of shadow that the sun hit the panels dead on.
Right, so you don't want to put them on the tree.
You can't put the panels on the tree. For example, that area that you have the shadow, you wouldn't want you would put the panels on that side where you have shadowing.
Right.
You know, you want to have it in the direct sunshine at all times, so you produce as much power as possible.
How long does it take for you to install this at my house?
It matters to the roof, you know, different roofs can become very complicated.
Okay.
So roofing is, and sometimes maybe we need a roofing person to attack your roof.
Okay.
It matters to the, you know, the condition of your roof and what's happening there, you know. But usually within a week this can be done, the installation, a complete installation. But roofing plates, for example, tile roof. Those tile roofs are
like the clay tiles.
Clay tile, very complicated.
Complicated.
Yeah, and you would need.
So you're better with a slab.
Slab. You can do clear tile, but if you're going to do clear tile roof, it's best to get a roofing person to install these tracks.
Okay.
You know, because there's a special kit you use for that type of installation.
Okay, gotcha.
You know. So you have different roofing solutions for different kind of things. So we'd have to come look at your building.
Right.
And then we make a decision and advise you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So we're now going to have a look at the battery itself, and we're going to look at the inverter. So Mr. Bernard, take us through the inverter.
Let's look at the battery first, because this is the question that everybody asks. This is the battery. We are the dealer for this company called GSL Energy. Now this battery is a lithium-ion battery. It is the same kind of battery here they use in the electric cars, which we'll show you, or you know, the Tesla and so forth.
Okay.
That small unit you see right there is a 10 kilowatt battery. It is about 22 inches wide and maybe 30 inches long.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is about, I would say, 8 inches off the wall.
Right.
Normally, you know, Miss Davis, if you go to a regular solar site, they have one big room, big like a bathroom or bigger, with batteries, these big lead acid batteries.
Okay.
This battery can be put in anywhere in your house.
Look at
it is safe.
Right. Safe.
Right. So you can have it in your kitchen, anywhere in the house, and it looks neat and nice.
And clean.
And this is a 10 kVA. Right now we have two batteries here. We have one and we have another one down there. This is really for demonstration purposes.
So what does this mean? Menu, enter, up, down?
So this is it has what you call a BMS, a battery management system in there.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually go in there
menu
and change
things. What kind of changes you can make to the battery?
Well, basically you can see the status of the battery, like how much power is in there, you know, how much it's being charged, information. But you really don't have to touch it or do anything. Yeah, everything is just hands off. Once it's set up, you just leave it. You don't touch anything. There's no maintenance. Over here we have the inverter. Now, to make you understand, I'm going to get technical with it. Basically, what happens with the inverter and the battery? Batteries are DC current, and you know our utility JPS produces AC current. So this DC current
means what again?
It's like your car battery in your car. Direct current.
Right.
And the other one is called alternating current.
Okay.
So what happens? The solar panels actually produces DC power.
Okay.
And when it produces that DC power goes to the inverter that takes this DC power and converts it to 48 volts and charges the batteries. So these batteries are 48 volt batteries. So it charges the battery, and also it takes some of that power and converts it to AC power to supply your load.
Okay, because in my house I'm using AC power.
That's correct. You're using AC power in your house.
So that's why you need this equipment to do the conversion.
Right.
Okay.
So it takes that DC power, turns it into AC power, and it also takes some of that power and stores it in your battery.
In your battery.
Right.
Okay.
So everything, all the power from the solar panel comes through this, and you're always going to have clean power going to your equipment. So you don't have to worry about, you know, getting burn up computers or burn up equipment, because this is clean power.
Or about smoke and
yeah.
What about gases of gases of
whatever
these equipment? They won't gas.
No, because they are safe.
Okay.
You know, they are in a like for example, this panel here, the enclosure is what you call an IP65. Since you're asking a technical question, it really means that it can handle certain amount of moisture, like water can splash, you know, different things. And it is, you know, the way it is built and the, you know, so forth. It's built with certain safety features, because these are all approved equipment. This equipment is also approved by the Bureau of Standard in Jamaica.
Okay, so this is bolted down.
It is bolted onto the wall. The inverter is bolted to the wall. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So once you set it up, I don't need to touch it.
No, you don't need to touch it.
Okay.
Right. You just, you know, you just operate. Because it has error codes, it has different things that will happen if, for example, if you overload it, it will throw an overload and it will give you a code. So when you call me and say, you know, I saw an error code today, I said, well, maybe you overloaded. What's the code? And I can tell you right away.
So overload means what?
If you, this is 8 kilowatt of power. And if your consumption went to 10 kilowatt, it will trip it out.
Oh, you mean like I decide to give my neighbor power?
Right.
And I decide
or you decide to
run up a big sound system on it or something like that. Oh,
right. So you have limitations.
Okay.
Right? You have limitations in how far you can go. With JPS you can do anything, you know, based on, well, JPS has limitations because usually you might have
sometimes you can overload. You do have overload and it trips the system.
You might have a 70 amp system or a 100 amp system, so you can over, and that's why breakers trip.
Right.
It's the same thing. The breakers trip when you have a overload.
So with the overload, will the breaker trip?
Well, what if you overload the inverter? Right. It trips the inverter.
Okay.
Yeah, it has safety features to
okay, so you just see your lights go down.
It will just lock off everything if you overload it. Now, one of the things is that, just a quick overview. For example, right now, I'm producing, look like about 0.8, 0.9 power. This power goes up and down. At some points, you'll see it, you know, going up. We're having a shadowing situation right there now. This is the battery. The battery is 99% charged and it has 0.4 going to it. My consumption on the building is 0.82 kilowatt. You know, this is early in the morning and this is the grid. So it shows everything. Everything is being shown here.
What these controls?
So these controls are all here so that we can go into the menu and change different things. But you really don't need to do this.
Touch it.
This is really for programming the equipment and so forth.
Okay, so we have actually just turned on the AC unit and we're moving from what? What was it before?
About, I think it was about 0.6 or somewhere there.
So what is it
now? If you notice, one of the things with the inverter AC unit, it starts to climb. It started at about 0.6 and then little by little the power goes up. It's at now 1.2, 1.3, it will go right up. Now, inverter AC units work like this. What happens, it's inverter AC units are actually DC operated units, really and truly. And what happens is almost, it starts at a low power and it gradually increases. You don't get a spike in power like the old time units. An older unit will just, when you turn it on, it immediately almost drawing 1 or 2 or 3 kilowatt of power.
Right away.
And it runs that high amount of power and then it trips out. What happens with a DC unit or inverter AC unit? It gradually carries the power up.
Okay.
And when the room becomes cold, it gradually ramps down and it comes down and it stays down low. It might consume anywhere like 200 watts.
Okay.
And it will stay at 200 watts during the course of the day. And as you open the doors or close the doors, it will just go up a little 300, 400 watt, and as the room cool down back, it just takes time and comes down back. And that's what happens. If you look here now, we are at, it actually is at 2K right now, and the sun is providing 2.1K of energy. So the sun is producing all the power and it's not taking any power from the battery right now. The battery is at 100% now, so it's not charging the battery at this time. See, you're going to 2.6. You're going to 2.7 right there now of power. So that AC now is trying to cool down the room. And within about 5 minutes, when the room has been finished cooling down, the power will just drop and come right down back.
Okay. Is there, so I'm into construction, doing a new house, right?
Yes.
Is there any pipes or anything special I can put in now so that I have a seamless connection and don't have pipes all over the place?
Yes, you should consider those things because right now we externally put all the pipes on this old building.
Right.
So this is the junction box and those are the pipes going in the roof.
Right. Okay.
Right. In an installation in a house, you might want to put these pipes in the
wall.
In the wall, right? And with solar, with DC power, you don't use the same electrical pipes. Usually you use metal pipes or you use scheduled 40 pipes, which is like water pipe.
Scheduled 40?
Yeah, you use a different pipe. So like these are water pipes actually.
Okay, not electrical pipes.
No, and electrical you use the metal ones. Usually that's what is recommended for DC power.
Okay.
And this is actually a conduit right here. We have all kind of wires inside of this that is coming out of it. So this is one way of doing it.
I see a switch here. What's this for?
This is the DC switch. I can take this and lock off the power going to the battery.
Okay.
For safety reasons.
Okay.
Right. So if we had a fire or we had some short circuit on the battery or something, we can lock off the power on the batteries. And this switch here locks off the power of the panels.
Panels, okay. Oh, the panels on the roof?
On the roof, right.
Okay.
The power come here, we can turn it off. And we also have a combiner box near the panels, and it has a switch in there, that a safety breaker switch that we can turn off when we're working on the solar panel. So we have safety gadgets all over the system.
So what is the movement of this energy? So it goes to the panel first, the sun hits the panel.
The sun hits the panel, that's correct.
Then it goes here.
So the sun comes and it comes to the inverter. The panels are connected to the inverter.
Okay.
It is showing here how much power is, this is not necessarily how much power is being produced. This is really how much power, because if you notice, 2.7, 2.6 is how much power that the building is using now.
Okay.
Right, we might be producing more power.
So it hits the panels, it comes to this inverter.
Right.
That does some...
So what you call it is a charge controller. The charge controller convert that DC power. Actually that power is coming in at 370 volts from the panels.
Okay.
Right, it's high voltage. DC.
So it converts it.
It converts it to 48 volts.
And then it goes
and
to the
charges the battery.
And
the inverter now inverts that 48 volts and produce 120, 220 volts, which is what they call split phase.
Oh, so this inverter is doing two things.
That's correct.
Okay, so it is converting the DC power to
48 volts.
To voltage.
48 volts.
48 volts.
Right, but to charge
the batteries. And then it is producing AC power for your consumption in your household.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, I think
so all your excess.
So what does this do?
This is just a junction box with all the wires.
Wires, that come here.
All the wires come here and it distributes it and
Right.
So forth. Right. That's all that is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, wow. I think Mr. Bernard, you have convinced me to put up one of these solar.
So a UPS is called uninterrupted power supply. It's just this device that takes care of, let's use noise, electrical noise, and when you have a power cut in the olden days especially, and still in modern times, when you have a power cut, it had a battery inside it, and when you had a power cut, you had temporary power so you could shut down the computers and protect your equipment. That's what the UPS main function was. And you know, you could probably stay on it for a few minutes, half a minute or a minute or maybe 10 minutes according to how much battery life you have in this UPS. And so this is what we used to use. When you have a solar system like this, you really don't need a UPS because the battery...
Because this just automatically changes over.
Right.
Without making any noise and nothing.
Nothing, right. Well, you are permanently on the solar system, so you are permanently on battery inside the building.
Okay, yes.
Right, so you don't really need UPS when you're doing this. So that's what the UPS means, uninterrupted power supply, just like what we have here. So, we wanted now to...
I noticed that you have, so you have the switch that switches over.
Right, so this box here now is JPS. This switch is connected to JPS.
Right.
And this switch is also connected to the inverter.
Okay, so it's off there now. So
Right.
it means that you're on solar power.
100%.
Right. So if
But
you go to on position.
If, for example, I had a situation where I had a lot of rain for a couple of days or a lot of rain today and I did not have enough power
right.
stored in the battery and so forth, I can turn this on and it will now share the power, charge back the batteries, and I will have power for the rest of the day.
Tell me something though. When you switch that on and off willy-nilly.
Yeah, like
it
so?
Does, yeah.
There's no difference.
There's no difference.
No,
okay.
no. This is all flawless. There is no power cut, nothing. It will just share that power.
Share the power.
Right, it just shares some of the power. So if I'm producing 1 kilowatt of power on the solar panel and I turn this on, but my requirements is 4, it will do this. It will only supply approximately 1K or 2K or 3K. It won't pull the entire power. Another thing too, this thing also can do grid tie. You can also do grid tie with it, and you can also sell the power to JPS from this inverter. If you want to. You have all those options. So it can sell power, it can be grid tie, all those things. And the inverter was approved by the Jamaica Bureau Standard for grid tie also.
Okay, the best thing. So it was approved, meaning that when you set it up at my house,
yes,
if I want to know, I can just do whatever, paperwork and
sell power to JPS. Right, and it will offset your bill. You know, they call it net billing.
Right.
Right, net billing. You can do that also.
The best part for me though, the best part for me, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that I can now use the solar, so use this power from the sun.
Free energy.
Free energy. And power my car. So Mr. Bernard was showing me this.
Electric car.
Power my electric car.
So we have a Nissan Leaf, which we bought to do this demonstration, a Nissan Leaf.
Right.
And actually, in fact, my wife drives this car all over Kingston and so forth. So it's a round town car. It's not really for far driving, but she uses it and go shopping and do everything around town. But
like me,
free.
Now, who do a lot of mobile.
You'd have to have a long range electric car.
Long range electric.
Right.
And
so
now you have no short range.
This is really just a short run around car in Kingston, right? Now you know that I'm a Tesla fan also.
Oh yes.
Everybody is. Now JPS is supposed to put in, I think, about 13 charging stations all over the island. I think the first one is supposed to have gone in Ocho Rios. It hasn't happened yet, I think, because of the COVID and so forth.
Right.
We're going to have charging station all over. We actually drove a Nissan Leaf to Ocho Rios quite recently. We used about 60% of the power, and we just recharged it in Ocho Rios and drove back to town.
Did you go over the toll? Did you go the
Yes, we used the toll
highway?
road.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Nissan Leaf was able to climb that.
Climb the hill. It drives like a normal car. It drives more than a normal car because electric cars have so much torque, and the move off on an electric car is really phenomenal.
Oh,
it is
so
really very zippy.
Oh.
Very zippy, very zippy. It's a really enjoyable car to drive.
All right, everybody, now I'm excited. So let's go and charge the Nissan Leaf and we'll take it for a test drive. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If it is that you're interested in solar panels for your house based on all of what we have said today, click in the link below, complete your name, email address and phone number, and it will go to Premier Energy Solutions and they will contact you about setting up your solar system. We want to thank Mr. Bernard for bringing us this great product from his company Premier Energy Solutions. This product is good for the environment, and it should be good for your pocket.
Yes, and I want to thank Miss Davis for coming here today to look at this system that we have here. I know that she wants to put something like this on our buildings, so I'm thanking her for helping me to promote this. You can call me at 383-7565, and you know, one of the things I have to tell the public, 2 years ago I was looking for a solution and I couldn't find it. I was not happy with a lot of things that I saw here happening in Jamaica, and that's why I went into this thing, because I wanted to offer something to the market that people will love. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and everybody remember, the link is below, so you can click name, phone number, email address. It goes straight to Premier Energy Solutions email, and they will contact you. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying with us. Have a beautiful Jamaica day.